There's so many reasons and factors that are preventing you from being at your optimal health. I got a master's of public health and master's of social work so that I could read the research and understand how evidence-based programs support people in making changes that last a lifetime. One of the practices that has really changed my life is what I call a needs check-in. And the needs check-in is something that I encourage you to try every single day. You don't have to watch this video every single day if you don't want, but eventually you want to get to the point where you're in tune with your needs. Because when we have needs that aren't getting met, then we will struggle to actually help be present in the lives of other people and be present for ourselves when we need to improve our health, we need to lose weight, we need to manage our stomach aches, and we want to feel better on a day-to-day basis. So I want to present to you the needs check-in. This is a full video that you can watch. I'm going to put a shorter video online so that you don't have to listen to the introduction. But for the women that I'm working with over 50 who are trying to lose 20, 50, 80, even 100 pounds, it's not your willpower, okay? It's that maybe you don't have the information, more than likely, of the healthiest diet for you. But once you have that information, a lot of women do have that information, and yet they're still unable to implement. And that's where these needs, this check-in becomes really important. So there's a lot of different ways to think about needs. While getting a degree in psychology, we talk about Maslow's hierarchy of needs, but I also learned through Marshall Rosenberg, who created nonviolent communication, about Manfred Max-Neef. So he was actually a Chilean economist that came up with needs in the context of a country. And I took these needs and adapted them to the individual, and our community has really appreciated it here in Atlanta. So here's how we're going to do the needs check-in. We have a thermometer. This is interesting technology I got from Asheville, North Carolina. Shout out to Earth Haven. And the thermometer is a lot like a gas tank. So this means that you're feeling good and it's feeling full. This is it's about over half, and then feeling empty and depleted, right? And if you're like this for most of these check-ins, there's something that is preventing you from actually meeting your needs, right? And you're going to really struggle to improve your health and to lose weight and to have a more holistic well-being if you can't meet these needs. So let's check in with them one-on-one. Manfred Max Neef, just like Maslow, says that our physical needs account for about 80% of how we're feeling. And that's why I focus in so much on diet, so much on lifestyle, and getting out here, because this predicts how well I'm feeling on a daily basis, and it will predict how well you're feeling as well. The first need I want you to think about is water. If we don't have water, pretty soon we will actually die, right? So how are you on hydration? Are you fully hydrated? Are you maybe struggling? You drank a glass, but you could have a little more. Or maybe you haven't had anything and it's like middle of the day, you still haven't drank water. So pause the video and go get some water and drink it. This is what we always do, and half the time when we're in a group of 10 people, 3 or 4 of us will take a drink of water. Luckily, I just had a few sips before this video. The next need that we're going to talk about is food. Now, there are a lot of different ways to do this. If you're full and you just had, a processed meal, like you just went to McDonald's, you might go like this, right? And does this mean that your need for food is fully met? So this is where we're going to go more into, let's see, Manfred Max Neef calls them satisfiers. You can call them strategies as well, right? So for food, there's a lot of ways we can try to satisfy that need. One of the ways you can do that is that you could just put sugar water and drink it, right? That's a way to get calories, but is that actually helping you? So Manfred Max Neef calls this a pseudo satisfier. He said if you were thirsty and you drank a Diet Coke, that would be a good example of that, right? Whereas we may have singular satisfiers, maybe just going to the store and getting an apple. You eat that with the food. But then you can think about, how can I have a synergistic satisfier? Maybe learning about the different plants. We have a few edible plants here. Not going to eat this one, but this is a type of mint. Call it Creeping Charlie, right? So now I'm outside. I'm getting fresh air. I'm listening to the birds. I'm getting sun on my body, and I'm finding food. So I'm meeting multiple needs all at once. And so what we're really going for when we create habits is finding synergistic ways of meeting needs, like eating with friends and community, right? And all cooking together so we don't have to spend as much time cooking, and learning new recipes and getting hugs and physical contact, right? Versus just all of us staying in our own house, alone, without support, right? Trying one thing at a time. And so, Manfred Max-Neef talks about the medical system is a lot of the times a pill for an ill. We're just here to meet one need at a time. There's no nature, there's no sunlight, there's no understanding of context, a lot of times no warmth and empathy. Sometimes it's actually cold in the hospitals, right? And so everything that I do is about creating systems that create synergistic satisfiers. Like the smell of the mint, that aromatherapy that's going on here. It does make a difference. Okay, so we've got water, we have food. So if you're really hungry, your need for food is unmet, right? If you're full but you're full of unhealthy food, I'd say it's closer to here, depending on how healthy the food is. If you're full and full of amazing food that you know is nourishing you on a daily basis, it's the food that everyone tells you to eat, the fruits, the vegetables, the whole grains, the beans, then you're here. Now, let's think about fresh air and sunlight. So a lot of people, even doctors in the medical system, people that are working 9 to 5s, right? You're inside at the only times there's sunlight, right? And if you smoke cigarettes, you can get a smoke break. So I encourage you, if you're working 9 to 5, to ask for a sun break. Tell them you smoke and then don't smoke. They've got to let you out, I guess. Or say it's part of your religious practice to go outside and to bring in that sunlight and to receive fresh air. But we need that for our health and our well-being. So if you haven't been outside, you can go like this, but then you can look at your schedule to make sure that you're going to be like this, right? And for everyone, your skin type, I need at least 15 to 20 minutes in the sun. If you're a darker skin tone, you may need 30 minutes. You may need an hour. And at certain elevations, you may need to even supplement with vitamin D. So we've got, by just going outside and having more time here in nature, we're actually able to get sun on our bodies, to breathe in the fresh air, and to be able to probably get some exercise and movement without thinking of it as exercise. We're actually enjoying walking in the woods, seeing the birds, seeing the robins come in. So I kind of combined a few needs because getting outside does bring in that fresh air, does bring in that sunlight. And even touching the ground helps boost that microbiome, right? When we think about supporting those needs. So let's see, what else is a physical need that I haven't mentioned? What do you think? How about rest and sleep? How are you doing on sleep? If you're like a lot of women that are struggling with hormones, struggling to find some sort of normalcy, a lot of people are actually, who are struggling with weight, go to bed really late. You may be watching this video at 1 o'clock in the morning, 2 o'clock in the morning. I hope not, but chances are you may be, right? And maybe you're waking up at 11 a.m., 12 a.m., right? A lot of times people are struggling to get the morning routine and they're up very late. So maybe you're getting the right amount of hours, but you also want to be sure that you're waking up, you're getting the sun on your body in the morning, that you're able to, if you're trying to lose weight, eating more towards the morning times, more earlier in the day versus late at night, right? These are all things that are going to help you in the long term. So how is your rest? This means you're feeling really good, fully rested. There's something to work on and you're not sleeping at all, right? So you can see that if we're not hydrated, we're not rested, we're not eating healthy food, we're not getting outside, you know, it's going to be really hard to be healthy. In fact, it's going to be impossible. Another physical need is movement, exercise, stretching. Looking up is a good one as well, just seeing the sky, right? How are you doing on movement? Now, if you're struggling with a lot of weight, you don't need to actually just exercise and burn yourself out and hurt yourself to lose the weight, but movement is going to help you in every aspect of your life, from, killing cancer cells, right, by exercising more, by being able to build muscle, which helps you stay stronger as we age, to stay agile, to prevent the risks of falls, right? The more we exercise, the less likely we are to fall, actually. The more we work on balance and movement. So how is movement for you? You can go like this if you're getting on all the movement, if you're really struggling, or maybe you're not moving at all, right? And this is going to slow down your weight loss path as well. So it's not that you need to exercise in the gym, you need to track how many calories you're burning, because that can have some unintentional consequences as well. But it is the fact that we do need to move our bodies to feel good and healthy. So I believe I've gotten the physical needs I want to move on to what Manfred Max-Neef says are these next set of needs that all interact with one another. So the next need is protection. How are you feeling on protection right now? Are you feeling safe? That can be a lot of things. A lot of times people feel physically safe, but maybe not emotionally safe, right? So if you're feeling safe, go like this, full tank. If you're not feeling safe, then maybe you're just not feeling safe at all, right? Safe in your body, safe in the situation, hospitals, healthcare. I've got to admit, a lot of times I don't feel safe, you know, and I'm grateful for family, I'm grateful for community, friendship, and support. So, next need is affection. And I sometimes lump this into physical needs. I think it should really be in there and it's not talked about enough. And that's the need for physical contact. Talking 30 seconds of skin to skin contact, skin to tree, skin to dog. And that relaxes us on a visceral level. So if you're dealing with stomach aches, you're dealing with digestive issues and spasms, getting that physical contact, getting a hug from a friend, see if I can move out of sun here, getting that connection with others is so healing. It's something that's often not studied, and it's going to be impossible to do a placebo hug. I don't know how you can fake hugging somebody. Maybe the robots, but to get that physical contact with another human is so important, does so impact our life on a day-to-day basis, right? Now I want you to think about your need for understanding. Are you feeling understood by your friends, your partner, your family, the doctor, the nurse, the medical system, people at work, from your coach, from your community? This impacts us from day to day, especially when it comes to losing weight, right? If we don't trust the people we're working with who are giving us information, if we don't trust that they understand what it's like in our bodies, right? A lot of people, including myself, have been told things about our bodies that we don't feel inside of ourselves, right? You're normal, the tests look normal, you should be fine, right? It's stress, right? A lot of these things that we're not able to really feel connected and feel supported with. So how are you on understanding? This needs check-in for me really meets my need for understanding. That's partially why I put it up here for you all today, is to understand yourselves, understand the context for your needs. If you have a lot of needs that are like this, that's what really having community, having support to, to get this up. And when we do these together, when we're in community here in Atlanta, we often see this happen within a day or two, as people feel more and more connected. So after understanding, let's talk about leisure. Let's talk about some downtime, something I haven't had a lot of recently, but getting outside, walking, experimenting, playing piano, playing guitar, music, singing with friends, right? Going to a game, playing. Right? These are always to meet our need for leisure. And Manfred Max-Neef says that when we don't have leisure, it's hard to be creative. It's hard to have creative strategies, whether that's planning your next meal, planning how you're going to relate with other people, planning your day-to-day experience, planning your health behaviors and your habits. If you don't have that leisure and that time to breathe, it can be very hard to get creative. And then we're going to talk about the need for identity. This is a big one, especially as it comes to losing weight. The lifestyle that we advocate, it's more of a whole food, plant-based lifestyle, eating a lot of plants, right? People have huge identities with certain foods that they can't eat, that they love to eat, that they need to eat, right? Now, notice when we talked about food, we didn't say a specific food was a need, right? Like, there's edible greens that I love to eat. I don't need to ever eat those greens to survive, like I need to drink water or need to eat food, right? So each food that we're picking is a strategy. But your identity nonetheless, right? How do you see yourself? Do you see yourself as somebody that, I like these analogies here. There's a thermostat and there's a thermometer, right? So when you go into a social environment, do you just kind of do what everybody else is doing, or do you stand up for yourself and advocate for yourself? That is a very difficult thing to do, and that is something that a lot of women, a lot of people are struggling with, especially as we get older, as our friend groups shrink, as family becomes bigger and more complicated. It can be hard to advocate for ourselves, right? And if you're identifying as somebody who is a thermometer, you might say, look, I need to eat healthy. Thank you for offering me that cake. But it's not meeting my goals. Like, I want to be healthy. I want to show up for my family and be the best version of myself I can be. And in fact, take it a step further, I have this amazing cake that I baked. And we have a lot of great recipes. If you need some, we'll let you know. We'll send them to you. But a thermostat is somebody who says, we need to be eating healthy here in this family, in this friend group. This is important to me because I understand that social interactions will predict my health, right? The people that I connect with, my closest friends, either we're all getting healthy together or we're getting sicker. And that is unfortunately the reality. So identity is huge. And I think that's what often stops us from adopting the healthiest lifestyle because of our preconceived notions of who we are, who we've been told by society we are, who our friends think we are. And at the end of the day, you have to pick. Are you going to invest in your health, which requires shifting your identity, right? It's scary to change. Scary to change identity. What might our friends think? What might our family think? But by doing that, I promise you that people will respect you. They will appreciate that you're advocating for yourself, and they'll probably try your food and love it. People love trying new things generally, right? So think about identity. I think that is a big need that we have that can often prevent us from really healing as well. One of the last needs that we have here is connection with the divine, right? Connection with the world around us to see beauty, to have faith that we are going to improve our health and well-being, that we can heal. Having that deep, deep connection with one another. And finally, the need for freedom, to feel like you're free to choose what's best for you, right? If you're in a rigid program and someone tells you, you need to do it this way, this is the only way to do it, you're probably not going to feel very free, right? So this is huge. Any change that you make, you need to feel that you're free to make that change, that you're not pressured, that you're not forced into making a change. Now, with coaching and with supporting people, we know that it's hard, that people need help, that people need support, they need encouragement, right? But no one is to be pushed or forced to change themselves, right? Because in the end of the day, I want what's best for you. I want what's best for me and my family, and I want health. I want healthy opportunities for people, healthy food in restaurants, right? And I want you to know that you're free to make the decisions for yourself, okay? So, those are the needs. We talked about the physical needs, food, water. We didn't really touch on shelter. Think about how you're feeling with your living situation right now. Exercise, nature time, fresh air, physical contact, right? It's about 80% of how we're feeling. Then we talked about protection, talked about affection, a little bit of the physical contact, but also the warm community, feeling supported, right? Feeling here in Atlanta, we've been building community for the past 5 years, supporting people on their health journeys, right? And there are communities all over the country. That's what I did with many different people, 160 different group leaders through Plant Pure Communities. And we connected people with community because you can't make healthy changes alone. You need healthy community and healthy friends with you. Then we talked about understanding, feeling understood by others, right? Understanding ourselves. One of them that I skipped over here, a really important need is meaning, participation, right? To feel like what you're doing is helping. So, do you get meaning from helping yourself, from improving your health every day? I hope so. Right? Do you get meaning from helping others, from giving them healthy food and watching them get better in the process? That's where I'm at. I really love seeing people try new recipes, try delicious foods, give them to me. Either make me the food or bring me the recipe. Both are great, right? Are we getting meaning in our life? And I understand a lot of people here in America, we're struggling to find meaning. I get it. Can we find meaning in our own health journey? So, skipped over that one, but it's very important. Next one is our identity, right? How we see ourselves, how others see us. And then we talk about leisure, having downtime, having time to cook, having time to get out into the world, to learn more about the world around us, to listen to the birds and watch the leaves fall, which helps us to be more creative. Creative with our recipes, creative with how we talk to people, creative with what we want to see in our lives. Doesn't necessarily mean music can, but feel that creativity. And then we're talking more about connection with the world around us, to feel connected, to feel supported, to have faith that we can heal. And finally, to have freedom to make the best decision for us, to not feel forced in any sort of direction, but to be told, here's the evidence, here are the ways that you can actually improve your health. It's up to you which levers you're going to pull. Right? So I hope you enjoyed this needs check, and this has been revolutionary in my life. And if you were to do something like this every single day, I think you'd be able to understand the causes and conditions behind the suffering, behind why we're doing things we're doing. And if you need support, if you need an empathy session, that's something that we've offered in groups. It's something that we love to support people with so they can feel heard and understood without being diagnosed, without being judged, without being told what to do. So I hope you enjoyed this needs check-in. Please feel free to use it. Do it with friends too. You can watch this video and you can all put your fingers up and down. It's really helpful to see what your family and friends are going through, what needs of theirs are met or unmet. And if you see a friend going like this, it's a good time to reach out, give them a hug, to talk with them, to see if you can share a meal, right? To see how you can support and listen to them. So again, I really hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks so much for watching. Give it a like, share, comment down below if you actually use this needs check-in, and I'll see you on our other videos here.